In this lesson, I'm going to teach you about blanching. Now, if you've read any of my books or you're on an online program, you'll see that most of the recipes that have courgettes, green beans, asparagus, and tender stem broccoli or normal broccoli call for blanching and refreshing. So I'm going to teach you how to do that in this lesson so that I don't have to explain myself in all the other 50 recipes. So the reason I say blanch instead of just boil is because blanching is the best step for preparation. You see, if you blanch your vegetables and you refresh them properly, they come out cold and they won't overcook from their own heat, but you can also use them a day later and they'll still keep their color and keep their crunch. So what we're trying to do, or the outcome we're going for, is for the vegetable to be slightly cooked and crunchy, or al dente. And a direct translation of al dente is to the tooth, which means you need that little bit of crunch. So the first thing you got to do is you get your water up to a rolling boil. Once it's at a rolling boil, you add a little bit of salt. Now there's a chemical reason for the salt being in there as well as a flavor reason. And if it's at the rolling boil, you just drop your veggies straight in and you keep an eye on them. You shouldn't need to blanch any vegetable longer than 3 or 4 minutes. Carrots probably take a little bit longer, but with these green vegetables, what you're actually waiting for is not a time, but the color. And you'll watch them change. Once they get that like deeper, darker green, just like that, they're ready to come out. And you've got about a 1 minute margin to take them out before they overcook and go mushy. So you take a slotted spoon or a spider and just scoop them straight out into a bowl of ice with water. And the reason you have ice is because it has to be very, very cold. And once the beans hit the water, that ice water is going to cool them down and stop them cooking immediately. Leave them in for a few minutes to cool off. So you can tell they're ready when you can put your fingers on them and they're completely cold and the water temperature is really cold. That means there's no more cooling left to do. Now you can store these in the fridge overnight, or if you're preparing for a dinner party, you can leave these out until about 2 minutes before you serve, which means you can reheat them in butter or olive oil, or just carry on with the rest of the steps in whatever recipe you're using.